Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight. Now in this nugget of learning, I'd like to talk to you about decisions. Now it doesn't matter whether you are a potential recruit to join the police or you are a serving police officer. If you are going for an interview soon, whether it be your final in-force interview, your online assessment centre interview, which isn't really an interview, or you're going for a promotion board or a transferee interview, or you are going for a specialist interview, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to be asked a question about a time when you've made a difficult decision, where you've had to account for that decision to others, or where other people may not have agreed with you. Now, with my clients over the past couple of weeks, we've been practicing this, and we've been practicing this in the in-group webinars and also on one-to-ones. And the same thing is emerging. So some of you might be thinking, it's a bit of a broken record, this, Brendan. It's a broken record because I keep having to reiterate it, because there's a difference between big decisions, difficult decisions, and process-driven decisions. So what do I mean by a big decision? Well, all of us are going to have to deal with at some point where we decide to live, what jobs we go for, what universities we decide to apply for, challenging situations where it might be that one of your relatives is on a deathbed and you've got a doctor asking, do we turn the life support off or do we keep it going? Do we continue to treat them or do we let them pass away in peace naturally? These are all big life decisions. They're not difficult ones, although it might be difficult at the time, but it's not the sort of thing that they're looking for. When you geek out like I do on the competency and values framework, I look at all the behaviours that they're looking for in the decision-making type competencies and values, and don't think that it's only one of them. About 4 of the competencies and the values link into the decision-making process. So don't fall for the CVF trap, and don't start thinking, if you're asked a question about a difficult decision, is this transparency, or is it analysed critically, or is it impartiality? No, don't fall into that trap. Just answer the question well, in a detailed way, with structure, with authenticity, and some emotion behind it, because it was a difficult decision. But we're not going to choose big decisions because they don't allow us to collect information from a variety of different sources, which enables us to do the analyse critically bit, the impartiality bit, seeking views and opinions of others to enable us to make a fair decision. Nor are we going to rely on process. So for several of the serving officers who I'm coaching and supporting, they've lent towards an answer which basically says, I'm a temporary inspector and I did my job. I'm an awesome constable and I did my job. So the time when you had to utilise your Section 17 powers to enter premises because you believed that someone was wanted in those premises, yes, you made a decision, but you just followed process, you followed the law. You had reasonable grounds to believe, yeah, great. They wouldn't let you in, yeah, great. Girlfriend was saying boyfriend's not in the loft, and you can hear rummaging around up in the loft, and you've got intelligence to say that he's there, yeah, great. She wouldn't let you in, you gave all the appropriate warnings, and so you destroyed the door and caused £2,000 worth of damage. Great, and you got the bad guy. So what? You just followed process. Or if you're the temporary inspector who gives an example of a firearms incident they dealt with, and all the individuals concerned were duly arrested and went to prison, and there's tea and medals the next day for you. This is me I'm talking about, by the way, on my inspector's board. I still remember the feedback. I mean, it was an awesome job, honestly. The chief superintendent was just like, oh, Brendan, you're the most awesome inspector ever. Well, he didn't quite say that, but that's what he meant. I gave that as an answer to one of my questions on my interview board for inspector. Feedback. Temporary Inspector O'Brien described how he did his job. So we're not going to choose process. We're not going to choose process decisions. We're going to choose the difficult ones. They're difficult because you've got no idea what to do when you are first faced with a situation, but because you collect information from a variety of sources, because you keep an open mind, because you check policy. You even go to people who normally disagree with you and do disagree with you often, to seek their guidance and their support and their advice. And you bring it all together and you create a series of options, and you discover that one option is the best one, because that's when the difficult decision stops becoming a difficult one. It just becomes a decision. You've transferred it, you've made it easier to make because it was a difficult decision, but you did all of those things which enabled you now to make a decision. Does that make sense? So we're not going to go for the big ones. We're not going to go for the process ones. We're going to go for the difficult ones. We're going to do it in a structured and detailed way. And we're going to describe it where we give examples of lots of how in our answers. Anyway, these are things we discuss in our webinars. In the interactive webinars, in the one-to-one coaching, you find out more detail about how to join those below. This is what we geek out on. This is what I love. Because this is going to get you high marks at your interview, at your promotion board, at your selection interview to be a recruit. Trust me, this will work. All right, folks, well, listen, I did say it's going to be a 5-minute nugget. It's turned into a 6-minute one. My apologies. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.